How to speak like the 1% elite. Some people walk into a room and, before saying a single word, they're already being heard. Their presence is strong, their language sharp, and even their silence holds authority. And no, it's not talent. It's technique. While most people speak just to fill the silence, the top 1% speak to shift the room. They don't get lost in, I think, maybe, or just a thought. They speak with clarity, they use their voice with intention, and they've mastered the art of strategic communication. Now, let me ask you something. What if I told you that you don't need to change your personality to command attention? That the secret isn't to speak more, it's to speak better. Sounds counterintuitive, right? But that's exactly what separates those who lead from those who are ignored. You don't need another diploma or 10 public speaking courses. What you need is to adjust your positioning, understand the power of silence, eliminate filler phrases, and learn how to speak with confidence. This isn't about impressing people, it's about transforming how you show up. That's the difference between someone who craves attention and someone with executive presence. In this video, you'll understand why most people are forgotten in meetings, and why the top 1% are remembered, even when they barely speak. Get ready, because this isn't about fancy talk, it's about speaking with purpose. And when you speak with purpose, you lead any room. Speak to lead, not to be liked. So many people walk into meetings more afraid of being rejected than eager to contribute. And what happens? They say, I think, or just my 2 cents. And boom, their authority vanishes before they even finish their sentence. True leaders get this. Communication isn't about being liked. It's about being clear, being grounded, and owning your executive presence. When you speak with intention, when you're positioned with purpose, people listen differently. Your words carry weight. Your tone matters. Projected voice, no fillers like kinda or maybe. Certainty is the bare minimum. Assertive communication doesn't start when you open your mouth. It starts in your mindset. That moment you choose to lead instead of seek approval. When someone says, I think we could maybe try this, it sounds like they're asking permission to exist. But when they say, this is the best approach for our situation, it lands differently. The energy shifts. People pay attention. That's authority. That's leadership. That's how you build presence in any room. Here's a practical tip. Write down your strongest ideas of the day and rewrite them without any qualifiers. No, I think, no, in my opinion, no, I feel like. Just the core idea. If it sounds weak, that means you don't fully believe it yet. Work on that. Strengthen your confidence, double-check your facts, study more. Clarity doesn't just come from your mouth, it starts in your mind. And a clear mind leads to firm speech, strong diction, and intentional delivery. And don't forget, your body speaks before your words do. Slouched shoulders, wandering eyes, fidgety hands, they all scream uncertainty. But strong posture, grounded eye contact, and visible hands elevate your nonverbal communication without saying a word. Like they say, the body speaks before the voice. And if your body doesn't communicate certainty, even the best message might fall flat. Now, what about when you're in unfamiliar territory, surrounded by more experienced people? How do you stay grounded? The answer isn't in talking more, it's in talking right. Use active listening as your secret weapon. Listen with full attention, process what you hear, and then speak with logic, structure, and clarity. People who speak less but with precision often gain more respect than those who talk just to feel secure. Leadership communication isn't about volume. It's about impact. And that takes us to our next point. Control your emotions. There's a saying that goes, whoever loses their cool, loses the negotiation. And that applies to everything, from boardroom talks to hallway tension. Emotional reactivity is a trap. It strips away your authority, weakens your credibility, and shatters your executive presence. When your voice rises, your clarity fades. When emotion takes the wheel, logic is kicked to the back seat. And a leader who doesn't rely on logic makes poor decisions. Leadership demands self-control. And self-control isn't coldness, it's emotional maturity. It's not reacting, it's choosing how to respond. The secret isn't to stop feeling. It's to stop showing when you've lost control. Picture a leader yelling in front of the team, awkward, uncomfortable, and instantly less respected. Now imagine someone who listens, breathes, looks at the data and says calmly, "Let's break this down." That person earns trust. That person is in charge. Here's a quick hack. Before responding to something that triggers you, count to 5 and ask, is this response constructive or just a release? Persuasive communication requires a filter. It's not just what you say, it's how, when, and with what energy. I like to compare it to a blade of grass. It bends with the wind, but it doesn't break. Now think about a toothpick. It snaps under pressure. The lesson is simple. Be flexible, not fragile. When someone confronts you, don't stiffen up. Absorb. Analyze. Respond with clarity, positioning, and emotional responsibility. Leaders don't have the luxury of public breakdowns. It damages how others perceive your stability and your influence. Have you noticed how great leaders speak calmly even under pressure? It's not talent, it's practice. They use a steady tone, neutral intonation, and precise wording. Every word seems intentional. This kind of nonverbal communication is magnetic. And yes, you can develop it. Watch CEO interviews. Study strong public speakers. Record yourself in tense moments and listen back. You might be surprised by how much you communicate without knowing. And when everything seems like it's falling apart, remember, people mirror your energy. If you panic, they panic. But if you stay calm, speak with confidence, and avoid emotional exaggeration, you give your team the gift of stability. Authenticity isn't about emotional outbursts. It's about having the courage to choose the best response, even when the worst feels easier. And speaking of courage, there's one skill even fewer people master, and it changes everything. Speak with authority. Speaking with authority doesn't mean being loud. And it definitely doesn't mean dominating the room. It means knowing what to say, why to say it, and when it matters most. Authority comes from intention. People with executive presence don't prove they know, they show they know, with precise words and purposeful delivery. They don't take up space just to be seen. They speak with weight. Even the silence between their words carries meaning. You've probably been in meetings where people are physically present, but mentally elsewhere. Emails, lunch, just waiting for the clock to run out. That's not presence, that's absence wearing a name badge. A true leader walks into any room with clarity. Why am I here? What problem can I help solve? And when they speak, they move the conversation forward, not just fill the air. To build this kind of authority, start with preparation. Before any meeting, write down 2 things: what you want to take away, and what you want to contribute. That small habit will transform the way you speak. Use impactful language. Cut the fluff. Skip the storytelling if it doesn't add clarity. No oversharing. Get to the point. It's not about sounding impressive, it's about being useful. Strategic minds speak with purpose. And remember, your body speaks just as much. A leader's physical presence is grounded. Their shoulders stay still, their back straight, their eye contact steady. When someone with authority speaks, others listen, not because they command it, but because they embody it. Projected voice, steady rhythm, consistent tone, it all aligns. Verbal and nonverbal working as one. That kind of presence doesn't happen overnight, but it starts the moment you stop trying to be invisible. Funny thing is, the more authority you build, the less you feel the need to speak. Because every word counts. You stop seeking approval and start giving direction. And direction, these days, is a rare and powerful thing. And here's another tool just as powerful as speaking with authority. Knowing how to ask the right questions. Be a master of questions. True leaders aren't the ones with all the answers, they're the ones who ask the right questions. Strategic questions are like flashlights. They reveal what's hidden, clear confusion, and unlock new opportunities. And here's the best part, they show genuine interest. When someone asks with purpose, it activates active listening, demonstrates authority, and brings others into the process. That's persuasive communication. You don't need to be flashy or sound superior. You just need presence, focus, and a healthy dose of curiosity. Natalie learned this as a child. The right question can turn any casual chat into a meaningful connection. And you can do the same. Swap, how's it going? For, what's the biggest challenge you're facing right now? Replace, do you think we can fix this? with what would it take to make sure this never happens again? Simple, right? But those small changes move you from talking just to talk, to talking to understand. Great questions aren't just powerful. They position you as someone who leads without needing to prove it. Want to practice this? Start with everyday conversations. Instead of jumping in with advice, ask 3 questions first. Say someone complains about their team. Before offering a solution, ask, what have you already tried? What do you think isn't working? What would you do differently if you had full control? Those 3 questions shift the entire conversation. You guide it. You challenge their thinking. And in the process, you sharpen your own clarity. That's how leaders communicate, not with speeches, but with questions that make people think. And let me be clear, great questions aren't vague. They're sharp, straightforward, no fluff. Avoid hiding judgment behind disguised questions. And for the love of effective communication, cut out filler words like kinda, like, you know. That's just insecurity in disguise, and it waters down your impact. The best questions are clean, efficient. Being simple doesn't mean being shallow. It means being effective. Think of it like untangling a knotted necklace. One smart pull, and the whole thing loosens. What's truly amazing is that when you master the art of asking questions, you realize you don't need control. You guide without forcing it. Great questions unlock logic, neutralize emotion, and bring clarity without confrontation. They lift the weight off your words and shift focus to deeper reflection. And that's real power. Because while most people try to convince others by talking too much, the smartest communicators know the most powerful message comes after listening. But what if talking too much is your exact problem? Well, let's talk about that. Stop talking too much. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone starts talking, repeats themselves, circles back, adds a new angle, and just when you think they're done, they go again? That, my friend, is overexplaining. And it's one of the biggest killers of executive presence. People who talk too much are often seeking acceptance, not clarity. They're trying so hard to be understood that they lose control of their message. And here comes the domino effect: shaky voice, lack of direction, insecurity, and goodbye authority. Speaking with precision is an act of confidence. When you know what you mean, you say it. That's it. No disclaimers. No rambling. No justifying. Great leaders don't over-explain. They deliver the message and trust it'll stand on its own. That doesn't mean being cold or robotic. It means speaking with intention. Every word has a job. Every pause has a reason. Assertive communication isn't just about what you say, it's about what you choose not to say. And sometimes, a well-placed pause says more than a tangled sentence ever could. A lot of people think sounding impressive means using big words. But the truth, real power lives in simplicity. Instead of trying to impress, focus on making an impact. We need to adjust the strategy, and here's why, is more effective than a 5-minute monologue. Clarity is gold. Here's a tip. Before sharing an idea, ask yourself, what's the main point? If I had to say this in one sentence, what would it be? That kind of thinking forces your brain to cut the fluff and keep only what matters. There's another layer too, your nonverbal communication. A projected voice, strong posture, aligned body language. That alone can boost your credibility even if you're saying very little. Watch successful speakers, CEOs, leaders. They don't ramble. They pause. They look people in the eye. They speak, and then they wait. Silence becomes part of the message. And why? Because when used well, silence might just be your most powerful communication tool. Those who speak with confidence aren't afraid of the quiet between words. So the next time you feel the urge to over-explain, to justify, to talk just to fill the silence, stop. Breathe. Remember, the goal isn't to convince. It's to communicate. And real leaders don't measure their influence by how much they say, but by what happens after they speak. When your words start generating movement instead of noise, that's when you're truly communicating like the top 1%. And if you want to become that kind of leader, it all starts with one decision. How will you use your voice from now on? And now let me ask you this. What are you going to do with everything you just learned? Keep talking to fill the silence? Or start using your words as tools of leadership, with clarity, authority, and intention? Because here's the truth. The way you communicate decides if you'll be followed or forgotten. Real leaders, the top 1%, don't talk to please. They speak to transform. Think back. How many opportunities have you lost because of unclear speech? Because of over-explaining or letting your emotions take over? How many times were you overlooked because you didn't position yourself firmly? That ends today. From now on, every time you speak, your words will carry the weight of responsibility and the calm of someone who knows exactly what they're saying. So, are you ready to speak like the 1%? To be heard, respected, and followed? Or will you keep letting your voice work against you? The choice is yours. If you want to keep learning how to grow your leadership, your positioning, and your high-level communication, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Because here, every week, you'll find content to make you impossible to ignore. Let's be honest, the world already has too many people talking nonsense. It's time for you to speak, to lead.